Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. This is NASL Week 6 Rewind. Hopefully we are not having, I know I didn't pronounce that properly, I haven't commentated in a while. Apologies, I've been gone for such a long period of time. Been dealing with some Heart of the Swarm stuff, which should be really awesome here in the near future, and a couple of other things which have kept me bogged down. 6 o'clock location though, I'm going to spoil you with this game. RootKiwikaki as the light blue protoss going up against LiquidTLO as the yellow terran. I assume that most of you guys know who these players are, because I know at least it's kind of standard for spectators these days to follow particular players. So when I saw this match, knew I had to do it. RootKiwikaki, actually both of these guys essentially the top creative players in their respective races. You have Kiwikaki, who's mostly known for having some very, very creative utilizations of motherships. You have LiquidTLO, who very rarely, I guess you could call him the hey why not kid. He was talking about how he sees streamers or sees some of his fans comment, hey, you should throw in battle cruisers and make it viable, and he goes, hey, why not, and attempts to do so. Sometimes it does lead to some crazy build orders and whatnot. Very, very ingenious player. Just recently did a 24-hour charity cast, so I'll try not to be too biased towards him. I love guys that do charity. I love doing charity casts myself. But 24 hours for Doctors Without Borders. If you haven't already checked out Doctors Without Borders, check them out, donate to that charity, and maybe even tell them that LiquidTLO made you aware of it. Great guy. And just thumbs up to him all the way around. Again, I'll try not to be too biased. It looks like Kiwikaki is in fact scouting cross position, knowing that close ground is not a possibility on this map, moving up to the 12 o'clock location shortly. In the meantime, he has that assimilator building as well as that gateway along the corner, just chrono boosting out probes initially, so nothing too insane with long distance rushes. But honestly, with both these guys, I don't think I've ever seen a standard game between either of these guys in the match. And the question, I guess, is who plays more off kilter and who adjusts better. And honestly, I feel like TLO has a slight advantage as far as when you're just talking about heads up versus heads up play, which again may not be the case. Kiwikaki, it looks like, is tacking on a cybernetics core and is grabbing a second gas. Usually that's more indicative of a slow sentry sort of play. Are you going to go for a fast expansion off of 3-gate or maybe even a fast robo? In the meantime, he's bringing that probe down to the Zelnaga watchtower just so we can keep an eye on things. It's going to be very vital. In the meantime, LiquidTLO is opening up one barracks into Tech Lab, so actually looking like a very standard Terran build thus far. Might upgrade Marauders and concussive shells early. It's also possible, yeah, we're going to see actually Reapers. We'll see how well he can micro this. The one advantage of Reapers, particularly against a player like Kiwikaki, is he's going to be able to sneak into this space much later, gather a lot of information, pulling out that SCV already, and essentially on delay, as long as Kiwikaki doesn't have, it's possible he might, as long as he doesn't have stalkers patrolling this top edge, he should be able to dive in, get a good look at the troop counts, also get a good look at essentially the tech that Kiwikaki is going to be fielding in a very, very vital way. On top of that, he can apply a little bit of pressure against this probe line, force Kiwikaki back, and as long as he keeps it alive, kind of force Kiwikaki to not get too aggressive. And in the meantime, he's going to go for an expansion to follow this up, although it looks like Kiwikaki is not too far off with his own scout to kind of check things out. Looks like in the meantime 2 additional barracks being planted for TLO. Reaper moving out to the south, I guess you could call it the southwest of this base. Wants to come in from, this is kind of an odd position. Usually you see them come in from the north rather than this western edge, but it looks like he's going to check out that natural expansion and maybe dive in across this corner to get a little bit of a faster run by across this probe line. But Kiwikaki very intelligently already has his pylon blockade along this exterior wall. 2 sentries moving up. This is actually going to be really huge, and let's see if he's, oh, nice force field blocking it in. Great micro from Kiwikaki. We do, in fact, have a robotics facility as well as the gateway to follow this up, but TLO got the information he was looking for. He saw 2 sentries to start, no natural expansion, and it looks like in the meantime, probe has been killed at the north and actually boxed out by additional Marines. So TLO, in fact, I'm going to bring up the view. I do not think Kiwikaki has a good view on that. Oh, never mind. He saw it. Okay, he does know there's a natural expansion up. Preventative bunkers now for TLO, because he knows, okay, no natural expansion, this is an opportunity for Kiwikaki perhaps to get aggressive. He didn't get a good look at the gateway count. Granted, he only saw 2 sentries, but he doesn't know for sure what he's up against, so playing the bunkers just to be sure. But it looks like Kiwikaki in the meantime has decided to go, oh man, this is devastating actually. TLO just able to walk up and see the Nexus building, see if he even cancels this bunker, realizing that, oh, maybe you don't need it. A little bit worried still about what may potentially be out there, so gonna let it finish and get the Marines in there nevertheless. In the meantime, 4 barracks running is getting an engineering bay up. Looks like he's going to play very infantry heavy here in the early game. Has a refinery, expecting a factory fairly quickly here to get those medevacs out in the air. Looks like the southern Zelnaga watchtower, going, I guess, the cardinal directions this game. Moving up. In the meantime, Observer going to come in and see all of this. Let's see how Kiwikaki decides to respond tech-wise. He's already got a single Immortal being fielded. Going a Twilight Council off the 2 gateway build. And let's see what he decides to upgrade off this. It is possible he could go Blink Stalker, but I think he might be relying more on just flat Charged Zealot. We'll see once that's finished what he decides to upgrade. Currently, it doesn't look like he's grabbing any additional gas. He is sticking a little bit more mineral heavy. And on top of that, with all of these sentries, these 5 sentries, that's almost essentially infinite force field. So he can really depict battles, particularly against large Marauder and Marine compositions. And with that Zealot charge, it can be devastating, just essentially dropping a ton of force fields behind the Marines, leaving them no room to escape, and then immediately charging to their front lines and dicing them to bits. We also have a Warp Prism warping in for Kiwikaki and a Dark Shrine. So I think what he's going to try to do as well to make sure that he keeps TLO back. So never mind, the Twilight Council just to get that Dark Shrine. Going to skip Zealot Leg Charge, maybe get a little bit later. And actually playing very infantry light in the meantime. So he's going to have to really rely on these Dark Templar to pin TLO back. TLO, in the meantime, attacking on some reactors, also has some tech labs in the background. Weapons, 1 about 3 force finish. But if he sneaks a Warp Prism back in this corner where TLO has actually not put anything to spot this back edge, he can float out here, drop that energy field, warp in Dark Templar, and the Dark Templar look... Wow, yes, there's an engineering bay, but there are no turrets to provide detection. 1 turret on the front door for TLO, but he's not expecting the Warp Prism. Oh, already moving forth. It is empty, in fact. So yeah, it is going to be the Dark Templar warp in. Zealot's now warping in, so I'm expecting to see that Zealot charge upgrade eventually. Also, a Forge right on the forward corner. Nice scan there by TLO, but not catching a lot of this tech. Unfortunately, this is really the critical thing he needs to keep an eye on currently. Both players actually about economically even. You got the 47 Harvesters, a little bit of an advantage for TLO because he does have those mules. Oh, this is going to be close. Lifting up the starport. I don't think he saw it. Here come the Dark Templar, several warping in. No turret nearby anywhere. TLO completely caught off guard. Doesn't see them. Now the SCV's dying left and right. Pulls them off very rapidly. But still, this is a very soft underbelly for TLO. Moving forward, the Marine's actually in the corner, but I don't think he's enough for a scan yet. Yeah, neither base has enough energy to scan, so these Marines actually very helpless here. Dark Templar going across, trying to take down tech labs, going to kill a couple free units, killing Marines here and there. Scan should be there, and this is genius from Kiwikaki. Okay, yes, 1 drawn into missile turret range, but he's still got multiple Dark Templar back here. He can just expend the comsats. This is forcing TLO to get that Warp Prism out of there. A little bit of a miss micro there by Kiwikaki, not pulling that Dark Templar out. He still has, that Warp Prism out. He still has Dark Templar sneaking the corner, and keep in mind these are forcing TLO to expend on scanner sweep rather than mules, so that is hurting his economy a little bit. Going to lose his supply deep to the north. Looks like another Dark Templar going to take down that reactor to keep the medevac count to a minimum, which is going to make those Zealots and Sentries even more effective. There is Zealot leg charge now in production, and on top of it, we have another Nexus being built for Kiwikaki in that bottom right-hand corner. TLO in a very desperate economic situation, actually in the red at this stage, with all the damage that these Dark Templar are doing. Incredible amounts of damage. Lifting up with the medevac, perhaps trying to distract or at least pin in that Dark Templar. Yeah, dropping along this corner, trying to tempt them in. Oh, engineering bay needs to be group prepared instantaneously. If it is not, it's going to be very dangerous. And okay, it looks like that Dark Templar might be dispatched. Almost got 1 more Marine kill there to end it. You can see the turrets sneaking them out to the corner. Oh my goodness, TLO having some trouble there. Oh, it gets a second scan though, but still that was severe economic damage. Kiwikaki 63 Harvesters to 35 now at this stage. So a firm grip on the lead. Nice attack with that Warp Prism, completely catching TLO off guard. Leg charge is upgraded. You have extended thermal lance now being upgraded as well. And Colossi starting to be fielded on top of it. The opportunity for TLO to catch back up in this game is narrowing. What he really needs to do is, well, he can sit back and try to max, but even if he does that, he's going to have trouble against the incoming Colossi count. So I'm kind of curious what his decision-making is going to be. It looks like he, in fact, is going to pull all of the SCVs off the line. Well, not all of them. Several of them. He's going to pull several SCVs off the line, push in for an attack with his Marines. Dark Templar are going to spot this, and this is tons of information. Oh my goodness, there's a comsat going to kill it, but still this attack has been spotted. Keep in mind, this is only a single Colossi out in the field. What is really going to be critical for Kiwikaki is, well, one, these Dark Templar moving out in the field and just killing... Ooh. Scanners keep killing them again. Here's the force fields. The force field's going to be immense. There's the force field, splitting a lot of that army in half. The Zealots actually swinging around from the opposite angle, but look at that Colossi charring all those bodies on the front line. TLO pinned behind this, lost half his army, is going to have to restage, and still the Dark Templar raining down destruction. Okay, finally some detection with that missile turret. And TLO almost giving up his front edge. Kiwikaki just trying to buy himself some time. Keep in mind with that warpism and everything else, that's a lot of resources he expended without gaining a lot of troops. Probes trying to engage us. All he has to do is take out this army, and he's won though. Force fields on the front, try to keep those Marines away from the Colossi. Looks like he was in fact successful in doing so. More reinforcements moving up though. TLO forcing this. Colossi being group attacked the sentries, doing plenty of damage to follow though. And there is a Raven here up in the mix, but it is not going to help at all at this stage. Only 2 Marines left, plenty of Zealots remaining, and Kiwikaki with a large bank to warp in several more troops. It looks like the Marines that were coming down, it's kind of an odd engagement point, flooding all the way back. Now Kiwikaki with a huge supply lead, a huge infrastructure lead. He's got TLO backed off to 2 bases. Kiwikaki going to take another base at the 3 o'clock location. And things not looking good for TLO at this stage in the match. 2 Colossi now out in the field for Kiwikaki, and that Colossi count is really going to be the huge thing. So once you start hitting 3 Colossi, doesn't matter with those medevacs. They just do, especially with infantry underneath, it's just too much damage. And once you hit 4, basically that is game over, particularly when you were essentially in a completely Marine-oriented army, even if you do have that Raven overhead. And that's actually, I gotta say, that was very intelligent from Kiwikaki, knowing TLO and actually reading this build order perfectly, saying, okay, you're going Raven to try to nullify my Stalkers. I'm going completely a non-Stalker-oriented army. I'm going more Zealot-heavy, I'm going more Sentry-oriented, and I have some Colossi to back this off. Okay, this is going to be, basically TLO has to micro this perfectly. See if he's able to do so. Diving in now, Zealots engaging that front line, pinning them back. TLO sees the situation instantaneously, realizes there's no way he can win, and is going to GG right there. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Going to move on to game 2 shortly.